Hey, welcome to Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast.
Today we're talking about our New Year goals. Everybody kind of sets resolutions, so we thought we would talk about our goals for the new year.
What were your goals for the new year?
Well, I kind of have two. So one is be healthy, healthier, always work on, what foods we're eating, making sure we get out and exercise, which I think we've been really good about lately.
We've been pretty good about that too.
Yeah.
And not even really get out and exercise. It's more of like we've been exercising indoors. Except the last couple of days we have been getting out, and we'll kind of touch on that in a little bit here.
Yeah, and then my second one is to kind of find hobbies that bring me a lot of joy, and so I've been working on that as well. How about you?
Mine is pretty similar to yours. Eating healthy, exercising, and trying to exercise every day, really, even if it's a small amount.
Moving your body is important.
Yeah. I also recently got an Apple Watch, and that has helped. I had other fitness trackers and things. The fitness trackers kind of help me just in terms of they're not always great at gauging calorie intake or calories that you're burning, but more of just like how long you're working out. So I try to do at least half an hour a day of working out. And then, like eating healthy, as well as my goal for the past couple of years that I haven't ever really put a whole bunch of work into has been learning Spanish. And so last year I started that process when we came back from our
Actually, when we were
trip.
in Italy,
I started it while I was in Italy in August.
We would have times where we would need to be back to our room so that Abe could take his Spanish lessons.
So I've been doing online tutoring with an instructor for almost 2 times a week for 2 hours. And it's been going well, I think. I've definitely improved. I knew nothing starting. So I've tried probably 7 times or so to try to learn Spanish.
I mean, I think you're doing great. I always hear Abe when he's doing his Spanish lesson with his instructor, and you're just speaking, full paragraph sentences, all kinds of things. I think Abe has surpassed me in the amount of Spanish that I know.
Not yet.
Kind of.
You're really language inclined, especially foreign language. You just grasp it. I struggle with language. It's my weakest subject.
It is hard. I mean, it is hard to learn all these different words and conjugations and things like that. I always loved Spanish when I was in school. It was one of my favorite subjects that I did.
Yeah, I can tell. Yeah. It's I'm more inclined to figuring out how things work and facts, but I don't know. That's why it's fun for me, because it's really hard for me.
Yeah, but I think you're doing really great.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. And then as far as, just getting healthy, exercising, we're working on that goal together. And so what's really cool is I found this thing called ClassPass, which I'm sure a lot of people already know about. And basically you get a certain amount of credits to try all these different gyms and classes in your area. And so for the last 3 days, we've actually been doing yoga classes, which have been so much fun.
They've been all different intensities too.
Yes.
And all different intensities, all different styles.
Yeah, the first one we tried was at more of a wellness type club, and that was the best class.
And that one was taught by a substitute yoga teacher.
Yes.
And it was her first class.
It was her first time. It was amazing. Yeah. It kind of was like a hybrid with vinyasa and hatha.
Yeah.
I think that's how you pronounce it. And then the next one we went to was yin yoga, and that's more like a meditative experience, which I had no idea what all these different things were. So I was just like, yep, yoga. It looks good.
And the yin yoga, I think it's yin and yang yoga, it was held at night.
Yes.
At actually a hot yoga place.
Yeah.
And they're we cooled down the room for you. And it felt normal.
Yeah.
But it was very, very, very slow.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it because it was so dimly lit, and they had these fake candles everywhere. So it was a nice ambiance for the evening, kind of to set the tone for your night, and so you're ready to go to bed. I mean, that's what I kind of
the other interesting thing that I found was all these places, they provide the yoga mats if you need them. Mm-hmm. They also provide the blocks. I've actually never used blocks. I've done yoga, off and on, and haven't, I guess, really gotten that serious into the blocks. I'm like, oh, I do need to use the blocks.
Yeah, it really helps when you're not able to like fully reach the floor. I mean, that's what I use it for, like just putting it under your butt when you're doing certain positions.
The other part that I really liked, or one of the props, was it reminds me of a horse blanket. It's like this, thick blanket. It's not super long, and to put that under your knees while you're doing yoga, it's and they really nice. Say to use it, like they're like, get that underneath your knees.
I have to say I was very impressed with this setup for the yin yoga. I mean, they already had the blocks set out. They had like this cushion you could put your head on for certain exercises, which was really nice.
It's called the bolster, I think.
Bolster. Yeah. And then they had the blanket laid out, and you could lay your yoga mat under it. It was, like I said, it was dimly lit, had the candles. So it was very nicely set up. Oh, and sandbags. I've never used that before. The sandbags were used to put like on your neck so you could get deeper into the stretch that you were doing.
Yeah. And then when you're leaning over, it was really when we were leaning over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helped.
Yeah, it helped. Yeah.
I've never used that before. And then today we went to hot yoga accidentally.
Yes.
Accidentally. We obviously did not read the description.
I read the description but didn't read it well enough. So that one's on me, but
yeah, so we show up to the place and we're like, oh, this is so exciting. Yeah. I mean, I already saw as I was like coming towards the studio, there were people dripping in sweat, and I was like, oh, man.
Also, it said hot yoga on the studio.
So did the yin yoga, and I was like, oh, maybe this is just a different type of class. So Abe and I go in there, and it is warm when we go in. There's humidifiers really going, heat is going, the floor is hot. And then everyone, the class was full. And it was really full.
Like, I don't know, probably 20 people, 15 people, 20 people.
Oh, I think it had to be closer to 20.
Yeah. And everyone, we're new to this, doing yoga, especially in like the structured form.
This like group setting. Yeah.
Right. Because we've done it on YouTube and, other things. But with this yoga, like you're finding out all these props that you need or that help. Especially for this one, when we had our yoga mats, and then everyone actually had towels on top of their yoga mats.
Which we didn't. So we were sweating, slipping and sliding.
Oh,
and
man.
It was really hard.
It was really
hard. Like downward dog
Literally.
When your hands were like wet.
Yeah, and probably like 5 to 10 minutes into the class, I'm like thinking, it's really hot in here. I just want out. But then I remember the instructor saying, oh, don't worry, we locked the doors because everyone puts their purses or wallets or keys or what have you, so that people can't come in. Yeah, she's
the only one running it, so she's the teacher plus the front desk person.
Yeah, so she locked the front door. So I'm then thinking, oh, well, I can't really leave. And I'm not going to go sit out there, so I'm going to try. And it's just like, especially when I started first sweating, it's just like you can just hear the beads of sweat hitting the mat. I'm like,
oh my god. The worst was when it was getting into my eye as I'm like moving in these weird positions that like I can't see, and of course we have no towel.
No.
So I'm
You're using your shirt.
My shirt like this, and I'm like, okay, my shirt is drenched now. It's like
and
so
the mat's
nasty.
Drenched. And then she's like, get down on the floor. I'm like, the floor is hot. I don't want to lay on the floor. Oh, man,
It was a crazy workout. And also some of the positions that some of the women could do, like handstands. And they did this one where they like twisted into a pretzel and lifted themselves slightly up off the ground. Literally. I was like amazed.
Especially like, being a man in this class, there's only one other guy there. And I'm pretty sure he came with his like significant other or some person that he came with. And it's... gotta hand it to the women. It's a lot of...
they're strong.
Yeah, stuff. It's kind of interesting as well, just because, yoga is a lot about breathing, and kind of depends on what class you go to on how much you're breathing and stuff. But one of the ladies in there was just like breathing very loudly.
loud.
You know.
Yeah.
Like,
she was really feeling those poses.
Good for her.
She was really like releasing all those toxins and things from her body.
Per the instructor,
Yes. But yeah, so that was interesting. It was the whole hour that she did that.
Yeah, it was. And then they're doing handstands in there. I'm like, I can barely hold myself up on my arms. It's like, especially at the end. And then I remember the instructor saying at the end, "Oh, if you just want to lay here for a little bit," and I'm like, I kind of want out.
Yeah, I gotta leave.
But I'm like, I don't want to move.
The thing that was interesting to me was that out of the 3 classes, I would say the first class that we took with the new instructor went by the fastest.
It was the best, yeah.
Yeah, today it felt like forever. I kept turning to Abe being like, when is this done? You know, like, and she'd be like, okay, we're doing one last flow, because it was vinyasa.
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of movement happening. It's not just slow. I mean, you're moving into certain poses quickly.
And you were even like, when she said get a drink of water, it's like 2 minutes to get a drink of water.
Less.
And then you're
it's like
in.
It's like 10 seconds. Everybody drinks of water, and then it's on to the next thing, tree pose, and, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I feel like I learned some new poses from doing all of this, and I'm excited to try some more yoga classes, but I think I want kind of that happy medium of, like, movement, a lot of movement. I don't want to go back to hot yoga, to be honest. And actually, I was like in such shock when we walked into that classroom, because I had told Abe, I was like, I do not want to do hot yoga. Like, I'm terrified, just because people who I know who have been to hot yoga, like their first time, they felt nauseous.
Oh, man.
You know, they felt
I
dizzy.
stood up and I
there was
felt
a point
dizzy.
where
I was like,
yeah, there was a point where I was like kind of off. I was like, I hope I just make it through this class. But it was a great workout. I will say that we were dripping in sweat.
Especially like looking, now that we've done 3 classes, we're by no means experts, but kind of just getting into the yoga scene and seeing these different types of yoga. It's kind of interesting to see the different types of people. You know, we like to people watch. The first class, which was, I feel like, if you're going to break it up into like hard, medium, and easy, I think that was like medium. And, you know, there is, most people in there were, you know, pretty fit. But I think everyone was like pretty much an average fitness. Yeah. The people in the yin class, they were more of a
I would say like
more or less intense movements, like in terms of.
I feel like those people were probably more like meditation and slow type things, and such slow movements.
Very slow.
Like you hold the poses for 3 minutes.
3 minutes, but also they're not like hard poses.
No, they're not terribly hard.
Like, because you're laying on your back a lot of the time. Yeah. And so you're not supporting your entire body. And then when you are supporting your body in terms of like maybe supporting your legs, you have your legs up, they're leaning against a wall. So
I would almost say that the yin yoga was better for beginners.
Yeah, it was. It was a little too slow for me.
Yeah, it was a bit too slow. But if you're just getting into it and you kind of just want a very slow paced class where you're not moving a lot more, I'd say that one was probably the best.
And then the hot yoga, I mean, all those people were like exceptionally fit, like way more fit than me, like by eons.
And I mean, it's not even just fit, like they just had a strength that, like,
I mean, that
they
is
could
fitness.
I mean, but it's because I don't want to call say
they
that
had
the
good
yin
muscle
yoga people didn't have that muscle
fit,
tone and stuff, but like they were experienced yoga.
Yeah.
Like people who go to yoga classes very consistently.
Very experienced in that type of yoga, you can say. Because the yin people
for
probably were experienced as well.
They probably
but in
go
that
to that
type
often.
So it's just kind of interesting, you know, there's so many different types of yoga is what we're finding out.
Well, just as a quick note, hot yoga was just a high intensity workout. So if you're somebody who likes probably like HIIT or like something like that, I feel like you would like that type of yoga.
I'm more for like the lower, you know, slower.
For sure. Yeah, me too. Because it's like, if you're not stretching in those kind of ways and you're not used to that,
Yeah.
I mean,
You have to build up to it.
It can be hard, yeah. And then kind of jumping off of yoga, for my other resolution, I want to dive into a little bit.
Yeah.
But I talked a little bit about hobbies. I think Abe's also interested in exploring different hobbies. I feel like the last couple of years, I haven't really been getting into my own hobbies because I kind of started a new position at work in the last couple of years. And so I've like really been focused on that. But now I feel like is a good time for me to like kind of dive into things that I really love. I used to love. And so like I'm big on like art. I love going to museums. I love like making things with my hands, but I just haven't done it, you know, in recent years. And so I think in November, early December, I decided to sign up for a pottery class where you get to throw on the wheel. And the wheel, if you're not familiar with it, it's literally a wheel that spins really fast and you throw a block of clay on it. And that's how you make bowls and plates and mugs and things like that. So every Sunday for 2.5 hours, I go and I throw on the wheel or, you know, learn some other technique. Now, I did pottery when I was in high school and we threw in the wheel and we made things with our hands without the wheel. And I loved it. Like, I still remember that class. It was very positive. We'd play some music. It just was very therapeutic for me. And so it's been really great getting back into it and like relearning those skills, but having a different teacher who's teaching me other things.
Especially as doing it as an adult too. I think that's also like different because like
it's a different
even
experience.
You were saying, especially, you know, everyone experienced COVID in their own ways, and you know, everyone with COVID was isolated, some more than others. But really, I feel like this last, you know, this year, which is only a couple of days into it, we're trying to get out more. And you had expressed that, wanting to get out more and meet people. And because like COVID kind of put a damper on all that. And it's really hard to get back into like,
it is
getting out into the community, you know, per se. Like
I almost feel like I'm more introverted and like I almost feel like it's like a shock to my system. Like, wow, all these people are out here doing these classes. Like even when we went to yoga, I'm like, there's this whole community out here that I didn't even know existed.
I'm like, I don't want to leave my apartment.
I know.
When I exercise.
It's like, I'm like, it's so comfortable. Like I feel so comfortable being at home and like. I really love like our time together. I love alone time. Like I've gotten so used to that. And so, yeah, it was a shock to my system. It almost was like, as I'm coming into the pottery class, I'm like, I just got to make one friend here, you know, like, and so I go in and I did meet somebody. And so that was pretty cool. But it's like, how do you even start like a random conversation with somebody?
How do you make an adult friend?
You know, because like when you're at work, of course you bond over certain things. Like you're in the same like position. You can ask, oh, how'd you get into this? You know, what do you like to do? Whatever.
You can talk about work first.
You can talk about work. That's like an easy in. But like, what do you do when you're like at some random class and all these people have different ideas and different things that they work on? Like, so
it's the same way, I guess. You talk about pottery or
I mean, that is how I met somebody there. I was like, oh, are you in the class? And like, how did did you sign up for this? Like. So
and I was making fun of Alexa for that. I'm like, yeah, of course they're in the class.
Of course, but it's at a studio, so you don't know if they're taking other classes and or if they're like signing waivers for something else, you know. And
that's
so
true. Yeah, because
I just asked if they're in the
things.
Yeah, they do drawing and pottery and bead and jewelry making and stuff like that. So it's been really fun, and what's really cool is at this studio. You get 2 extra hours per week where you can sign up to come and just practice throwing on the wheel or trimming your bowls or getting things ready to be fired in the kiln so that you can glaze them and make them look all pretty. So that's been really fun and something to look forward to for me too. Yeah. I love that I get practice time because really that 2.5 hours goes by so quickly. So it's like I need that, and I can make extra things too.
Yeah, and you're going to make me something, right?
Yes, Abe would like a mug. So I'm going to work on that. I'm still trying to perfect the bowl and like centering the clay.
And I would like it to fit all my fingers because I have big hands.
I need to measure him, like his hand width.
No.
I'm gonna work on it.
It's just a bowl that's up.
Probably
right?
be done at the end of the class or something.
Alexa, my bowl's leak. My
Oh
bowl,
my
no,
gosh,
no,
your mug.
My mug. Yeah, have you seen
Alexa,
those
the
mugs?
handle fell off.
Have you seen those mugs that like? It's like almost like the. I don't know how to explain it. There's a mug, and then there's like a section of the mug that comes out, and your hand folds like into this section of the mug.
But it's not open. Like there's no
No,
open
it's
holes.
like your hand wraps around the mug, and then
like
there's a
perfectly
piece of
fits.
pottery that comes around and holds here.
I haven't seen that.
Yeah, it's almost like a little mitten.
I like those little. They're kind of. I mean, I guess it's a mug, but it's just like the cylinder part, and then it just has like 2 indentations for your fingers on each side.
Oh yeah,
Like for your thumb
man.
and like your pointer finger.
I've seen that.
Have you seen those?
But what if
Kinda
it's really
cool.
hot?
Yeah, I guess. You
I
gotta
mean,
let
I
it
guess
cool
same
down.
thing with holding it like this. I don't know.
Yeah, but do you have any other things that you're looking forward to this year? Any?
I mean, I have lots of hobbies. As
Yeah, Abe has
pretty much
tons of
everyone knows.
hobbies.
I have too many hobbies where it leads me to, you know, what's the saying? Be a master.
Oh yes, jack of all
Jack of all
trades,
trades,
but
master of none. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that's me for sure.
Me too.
So yeah, I wanted to get my drone pilot, got my ham radio license, some other things, you know, working on cars, you know, photography, vlogging, all that. So I've tried to kind of put everything a little bit to the side, really focus on Spanish, and yeah, that's really the focus right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
It's hard when you have
Yeah.
so many different hobbies, what to focus
right.
on.
And plus,
you
you're
know?
working full time. We're both working full time, of course.
Yeah.
So, you know, and then doing the podcast on top of it. That's really kind of like another hobby.
It is.
I mean, we don't get paid for it or anything, so it's a hobby right now.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
those are my, you know, upcoming yearly goals.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, thank you for joining us on Get Out and Enjoy Life podcast.
We hope you get out and enjoy life in whatever way that means to you. Whether it's getting out in your neighborhood, going to try a new class like us, talking to a friend, seeing a family member. We hope you just get out and explore.
So thank you for joining us again, and we'll see you on the next episode. Bye.
Bye.